Hello friends, my name is Shivam from DevOps Schools and I will help you to enable your learning process in various technologies of DevOps, artificial intelligence, machine learning, big data and many more. This is our initiative to help you by sharing multiple tutorials and videos. And if you want any specific tutorials on any particular topic, then please do comment in the below comment section and I will help you with it. Also, please subscribe to our premium services on YouTube, which will give you access to more content and videos to enhance your knowledge about all these topics. Also, if you want me to help you with regards to the online trainings and classroom sessions by our qualified trainers, then please do write me at contact@devopsschool.com. Thank you.
Okay, so we did cover virtualization. We did talk yesterday about virtualization cloud infrastructure framework, cloud computing, deployment model, service model. We talked about shared responsibility model concept of AWS, console management, and how you can use AWS CLI, how you can configure CLI, and how that can be used for an exploitation. One of the example we saw that how we can use an IAM when you give IAM change policy or version to this configuration, if you have given it to any of the user, then how he can change that to any other version of the policy. Then IAM roles, policies, user, entity, provider, organization unit, SCP policies. This we talked about so far. We didn't saw deploying a web application and exposing it by load balancer and connect to RDS. That part is still remaining. We'll show you that, but we did see IAM pen test and exploiting policies. We have one more lab called pen test on instance metadata, but as we have decided, we will be um, doing the theory first in the first half, and then in the second half we'll be doing the labs. Okay, so in the second half we'll have a 2:30 to 4:30. You will, if you want to do some labs on the services, service specific to the services, we'll see that. And after the lunch, we'll do some labs on the services. Sorry. So yeah, we'll see some labs on the services which we talked, like IAM service, and we'll talk about S3 service in the first half. And in any cases, after doing the service labs, we'll be doing a labs on um, the pen test, which will be today. We'll see how we can extract information from EC2 instances, and then how we can expose a vulnerability in reverse proxy, that we will have a look upon. And then we'll on the first half we'll talk about buckets. What are S3 buckets? What is compute service? What are bucket policies? ACL, how we can enforce encryption in S3, how we can use cross-region applications, enforcing S3 to use CloudFront, what CloudFront is, what CDNs are. Then we use the pre-signed URLs. What is pre-signed URL? We'll talk about Web Identity Federation. What is that? Then we'll talk about what Cognito is. Okay, and then we'll have a lab after that, which will be more over bucket contain and executing RC. If we succeeded on a talk, then we'll move to logging and monitoring stuff. But if we didn't have enough time, we'll continue with the lab so far and with the services what we have learned. Okay, and that's section 3. On section 4, we will talk about serverless network and pen test. We'll see DOS, WAF, and log analysis and automation pen test. So so let's begin. Today I will try my best to cover up IAM things because S3 bucket policies, ACL also comes under the IAM, like identity access management, and it is a very important service. Sorry, very oftenly used by DevOps team. So we need to understand what compute is and how this S3, simple storage service, how this S3 work, and we need to understand how and where we use S3 buckets. Okay. So having said so, this will be my intention that we'll cover up maximum from section 3. If we got a time, we will try to finish up all the topics on section 3. For tomorrow, we'll try for section 4 and 5, half of section 5. And on the last day, we'll try to cover up half of complete section 5 and then section 6. Okay, so let's begin with secret overview. The class will remain the same. We'll have 2 breaks before the lunch and 1 break after the lunch. And all things is going to be same. Just that we will have a theory in the first section and labs in the second section. Cool. Again, if I break somewhere, do let me know. I have multiple wireless devices, so I'll try to switch to other if I'm not audible anytime to anyone. Okay. All right. Having been said, so let's start with our session with S3 bucket overview. What is S3? Sorry. What is S3 and how S3 looks like and why we need to know about S3 and also far. So over here you see my screen. Now on the service, when you go to compute, when you go to storage, sorry. So when you go to storage, you see there is an interesting service called S3, which is a simple storage service, which is again a storage for the internet. It is basically designed to store, your data. So this is like a simple storage service. That's S3. So all your applications which runs this store data, they can store data in RDS or also they can store data in S3. So S3 is just like in cloud file system architecture you can think of, where you store you create your folders, you store your files, and you can store anything you want. So basically, moreover, it's much more cheaper than as comparison to any other storage service. So let's suppose you can think of, or you can correlate it with just like Google Drive. You have a Google Drive where you can upload your photos, you can create folders, right? Similarly, on cloud on AWS vendor, we can store multiple files. We can store in lots of data, and that comes under S3. So S3 stands for, if you even scroll it on top, you will see whether it's a scalable, scalable storage in the cloud, completely that. But S3 stands for simple storage service. So that's S3. So when you click on the S3 service, you will
Hey viewers, our Master in DevOps engineering program can help you to hone the skills necessary to succeed in high-level DevOps positions. So, what are you waiting for? Enroll now and earn certification that show you are keeping pace with today's technical roles and requirements. Contact info is mentioned in the video sidebars and in the description box. Book your seats for the upcoming batches now.
wait for a minute, and then this things will come up over on the top. Now we created some bucket last day, so we'll just delete them first. Okay, so I'll just delete them quickly. Okay, so let's delete the buckets because I'm gonna create it. We created a bucket yesterday from CLI, and now we are going to create it from GUI, and we'll talk about what bucket looks like and why we need a bucket. It says this bucket is not empty. All right, so there is some data inside this bucket, so it cannot be deleted, and this isn't data which has been there. So let me delete that. Yeah, I want to delete this. Permanently delete. Okay, now I can go back into this and can delete the bucket. Sorry. So for me, it's a weather change. I live in Bangalore and now I'm in Delhi, so it's a bit cold over here. That's why I got this cold. So I keep coughing in between. I'm really sorry for that. Sony demo date. Okay, we'll R and then so it's completely empty. Now this is if you are working at the very first time, and even in your lab you will see the screen like this. Again, um, you'll see the screen like this when you are going to work around. So let's see what S3 is, right? So we just need to understand what S3 is. So S3 is, as I said, is a simple storage service for the internet, which is a very simple web service interface that we see on the screen. We store and retrieve any amount of data at any time from anywhere on the web. That's what the flexibility is. It is basically used moreover by the developers, which access, and it is used moreover by the developers. That's why we need to make it more secure, and we don't want that's we lose security into that. And you might have heard lots of cases where you might have seen that third-party data has exposed, have information about PII customers. So basically, people are moving more over to a DevOps portals, and then they include cloud into it. Um, and when they include cloud into it, they need a fast, reliable, scalable, and inexpensive data storage infrastructure. And when it comes to talk about these features where you want a highly scalable, reliable, fast, and inexpensive data storage, Amazon gives which is called CC. It is the cheapest service that you can buy when I'm which Amazon and okay, so it allows you to
Vasant,
store your files, yep, yep.
Vasant, I'm not sure if it is only for me. Your voice is breaking, okay? It's not reliable.
Yeah, it's even for me. Your voice is
Yeah,
little
yeah.
cut.
It is.
Okay, it seems like cool. Yeah, I know, I know. That's why I won. Okay, no worries. I'll just switch to the uh, other wireless. So give me a second. I'll jump in again. So I think even if I switch to another wireless, I should not be disconnected. Okay, how about now? Is it still breaking?
Yeah, I think it's okay now.
Can you guys hear me good now, or it's still breaking?
Now it's better, I believe. Now it's good.
Okay. All right. If it breaks in between, do let me know. I have another wireless. I'll switch to the third one then. All right. So I was talking about, guys, what S3 is. So S3 is a simple storage service, um, which is basically a scalable, reliable, fast, and inexpensive data storage infrastructure that Amazon provides to as the infrastructure to store data. It follows the file hierarchy structure. So sorry. So it allows developer to aim and store maximum amount of data, and with that too with a very specific or very small cost included or involved into it. As I said, it takes almost like for a 1 terabyte it charge you 3 rupees in a month, so which is very cheap, and you could have higher amount of data on cloud. Okay, and as I said, it follows the hierarchical structure, so it's just like you store um you store your files, you can store your images, you can store whatever you want. Basically, when we develop an application, okay, hold on, let me check. Okay, I'm recording the session, all right. So basically, what happens is when when your developers develop the application, they put all their artifacts and um, required files into an S3. Like for an example, you have CSS where your developers use a CSS, they use as JavaScript. So such type of files, such type of areas they use to store it on S3. Okay. So that's what the service is basically for. And it is a very good service which is not only helping the developers, but from the point of security as well. It can help us too, because we can store our logs or log files or any other you know uh,
Hey viewers, trying to get into DevSecOps? Enroll for our DevSecOps certified professional programs and earn the certification that shows you are fit for these technical roles and requirements. Contact info is mentioned in the video sidebars and in the description box. Book your seats for the upcoming batches now.
basically your all log files you can store, or huge amount of files you can store that can be related to security, which you want to store, you can store that into S3 bucket, okay, or S3. Now, whenever we talk about S3, um, or when we want to create a or we store our files, there are some terms which we should follow. So first term is that um, over on it. First term is that whenever we wanted to put something on, or we wanted to use an S3, we have to create a bucket, okay? And as I said, developers are going to store their artifacts into this particular, or developers or anyone can store any files or any data into the buckets. So ideally, it's a storage where everyone puts their data, and there are some configuration things which we have to take care of so that our bucket do not get exposed publicly. As if it happens, then what can happen, we'll see that. So it is a very important term, or it is a very important thing which we have to see from the point of security as well, because you might have heard in the news, or you might be updated with the news and that, or heard that the S3 bucket exposed, S3 bucket content has been exposed. Such type of things you might have heard on AWS very oftenly, because security configuration of the bucket is completely on the customers. So sometimes intentionally or unintentionally the buckets are made public, and when buckets are made public, what happens is the files inside the bucket will be able to access, anyone will be able to access that. And once that happen and anyone is able to access that, they can read the files. And if more privileges has been given and in the bucket, people will be able to upload anything on your bucket. Okay, so that what we don't want. So we'll see how this bucket works first. What bucket is and why we need bucket. First we'll understand bucket thing, and then I'll show you how this. First we'll try to understand how this functionality works, and then we'll try to look from the point of security, that what we should take care of on the configuration when we use this storage service to store our data at rest. Okay, so so we know that data has types, so data can be flowing, right? It can be in a motion, data can be in rest, and data can be in use. Okay, so in move, in use, or the other is your at rest. So over here when we talk about S3 bucket, we focus on the type of data at rest. So we store data on Amazon with a very highly scalable, flexible, fast, and inexpensive service. That's your S3. Okay, You can store unstructured, structured data as well. See, we will talk about structured and unstructured data in the next few sections. But when you want to just store files, images, and any other thing, then people usually go for the S3 service. Okay. Now, to create a bucket, what you have, okay, when we wanted to store a file or something or anything, let's say you have a file on your laptop, you want to store it over here. If that is the case, what you have to do is you can store it, but to store that file, you have to create, or any other files, you have to create a bucket first. That's how it works. And S3 is a global service, as you can see on the top. Okay, service is global, but you can create a bucket on the specific region. Like right now, it seems you're global, right? Because it's a global service. But you see that on the top also, you will see um, S3 does not require selection. If you click on global on the top. Okay, so that is, so what if you have to create a bucket, how do you create it? There's a button on the top, on between of the screen, and you click on that, create bucket. So it's quite, it seems to be a bit slow. There's a button on the top, create bucket. Let me create that. What has happened? Why does not get deleted? Let me just refresh the page. Yep. I see error. What is that? Okay, I think I have to refresh the page here.
Hey viewers, are you looking for formal training on SRE practices? Take our SRE program. This course will teach you how to successfully implement site reliability engineering in the modern day 24/7 services. Kickstart your SRE training today. Contact info is mentioned in the video sidebars and in the description box. Book your seats for the upcoming batches now.
Okay, it seems to be slow a bit. Let's see if it worked well. Great, no issues. So on the right hand side on the top, I have a button called Create Bucket. So when you click on that, click on that, you will get this screen where you have to write your bucket name. So let me write my bucket name. Anything we can write. So Sony Demo 2. Whenever you write your bucket name, you have to make sure that this bucket name is not available um, anywhere else around the world. So it's gonna be unique for you. Okay. So if this bucket name is already available around the world or somebody has chosen it, so it's just like domain name. Okay. So if your domain name has been chosen, you cannot have the same name again. Similarly, if you have a bucket and if you have a bucket and that bucket or you named a bucket, that bucket has already been created by someone, you won't be able to create the same name, and it will give you an error at the at at the time of creation. Sorry. Now there is a drop down over here which you see the region where you're going to create bucket on. So as I said that on the top you have uh, a global area, like it says that it's a global. It's a global service, but you can create your bucket specifically to any region. Okay, I want it to be in same region, so that's okay for me. And then we'll move ahead. You will see that over here some of the settings has been mentioned, like block all public access, which is by default checked. This has been because of the concern and raise of so many security issues where the bucket get publicly exposed. Amazon came up with an idea that by default we will deny everything, will deny by default, and it's up to the customer if they wanted to have a public access of the resources or not. And if this do intentionally uncheck this, the bucket will be created, but it will be publicly accessible. Okay, so that's what I don't want. So I'll just say block all public access for now. Okay, and then when you go down, you will see that there is one more option called bucket versioning. And what bucket versioning is? Bucket versioning is moreover the case that if suppose you wanted to upload files. Okay, one more thing I would like to drag your attention into over here in um AWS. Whenever we drop files to a bucket, all the files which we drop, we call them objects. Okay, that we and when if you create a folder, if you are creating a files, all the files on AWS is called objects. Okay, so I'll be using this term very oftenly. So when I say object, that means a file. So here you see on the top, uh, there is a bucket versioning option, and which has been enabled, which has been disabled by default. Okay, so what is that? If suppose you have an object, and you want and suppose you you want to keep a track of that, like for example if you put an object and then you want to replace it, you again place put a similar name object. So what it's going to do is, if it's been enabled, it will keep track that what was the last when was the last file uploaded, what was the content inside that file, and so on. So it will keep the versioning. I'll show you that part, but for now it will be disabled, and I would like to be disable keep that disabled for now. And then there is a tags. Okay, and then there's a tags which is an optional again. Tags, I told you that if you wanted to label your resources, you use tags on them, so that with the label name you can easily identify why you created that resource and for what purpose. And that's what the tags are being used. And now there is an encryption. Okay, encryption says that do you want your objects to be encrypted, which is going to store inside this bucket. By default it's disabled. I wanted to keep that disabled for now. Okay, and then once everything looks good to you, you can do an advanced settings, but we'll talk about that. Once all thing looks good to you, you can create a bucket. You click on this button on the very bottom. There's a button. Click on that button, and this will create a bucket for you. Okay, so click on create bucket. and wait for a minute of time. This will be created, and once your bucket is created, you will be able to see in the dashboard that here is the bucket which you have created, and then you can open that bucket and can upload the files or images or anything which you wanted to upload. Okay, so it's taking time. I really should not take that much minutes. It's because of my internet speed. It is taking time. Okay, if it's get created, you will be looking your bucket on the dashboard, where you will see your bucket name. Let's say we created Sony Demo 2. We'll see the bucket name, or we'll see the bucket as Sony Demo 2. And when we open it, we'll be able to upload files into that. Okay, we'll be able to upload whatever we want. We'll be able to upload that, and yeah, and then and whatever files we upload, we'll be able to work with them. All right, so we'll be able to work with them. We'll be able to upload them, and so on. All right, so let me. I think. Okay, so on the dashboard. Sorry. Okay, on the dashboard, you see that I have a demo 2 bucket on the dashboard, and when we click on Sony Demo 2, you will see that there are uh, when you click on that, you will see there are no objects into it. Okay, and to get an object, we'll have to upload one. Okay, and when you just click on the bucket, and then when you click on the bucket, you will be able to see that there are you can create folder, you can upload objects. Okay, so for now, I would just wanted to upload the objects. So I'll click on upload, and I'll click on add files.
Thanks for watching. Want to study further? Join our training programs today.